Good morning, everyone. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. We're glad that you're here. I'm Steve,
And I'm Scott.
and together we are Backyard Musings, the Science and Technology channel.
Yeah, we're talking about a interesting topic as always, but this has to do with glaciers and one particular glacier, I think, right? Well, many
Yeah,
glaciers, but one particular glacier that's fallen apart, sounds
yeah.
like. And
This is
they're,
the Doomsday Glacier, they call it.
yeah, this is just really kind of I don't know, kind of sad, kind of bittersweet, I guess, story about this glacier. But anyway, let's talk about it.
Hundreds of previously uncatalogued Antarctic glacial earthquakes may reveal how Thwaites Glacier, and that's spelled Thwaites, Thwaites Glacier is changing near the sea. When a towering piece of ice breaks from a glacier and crashes into the ocean, the impact can send vibrations through the ground. These events are known as glacial earthquakes, a form of seismic activity produced in frozen regions when large masses of ice fall into the sea. Glacial earthquakes were first identified in the northern hemisphere more than 20 years ago, but Antarctica has remained difficult to read. Only a small number have been detected there until now. Would you like to know more?
Okay, I have a question about that very first sentence and the second to the last sentence here. Hundreds of previously uncatalogued Antarctic glaciers. Does that mean
Glacial earthquakes. Glacial earthquakes.
glacial earthquakes? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So these things are just happening so fast that they just can't keep up with them, probably, right?
And probably Antarctica is so far south they don't have sensors, like they do in Greenland or
Okay.
Nova Scotia.
Okay. And
Norway.
it said, and then the other sentence was only a small number had been detected there until now. So does that mean that, like you say, they're just not really pay that much attention until December?
I bet that because the seas are so rough down there, I bet someone said, "Hey, it's happening up here. Let's go check it out down in Antarctica and see. Let's head to one of the glaciers." And sure enough, they got close, measured the earthquakes, and they're like, "Oh, we're out of food. Let's go back to Argentina and refit." Something like that.
Yeah, gotcha. All right.
They need money to do this.
Yeah. Well, we haven't got to that part yet, right? In a study published on December 17th of last year in Geophysical Research Letters, the author presents evidence of hundreds of Antarctic glacial earthquakes between 2010 and 2023. Most of them near the ocean end of the Thwaites Glacier, often called the Doomsday Glacier because a collapse could drive rapid sea level rise. So somebody I was just talking to mentioned something about their sea level is rising. And I wish I could remember who that was. I'll think of it and I'll let you know. But I thought, man, that's weird. I just can't believe it that there's enough stuff going on.
Well, the iceberg will melt, not instantly, but it's going to take time for it to start melting. Well,
Yeah.
Depending on how big it is,
Yeah, but I mean, when you take an ice cube, just a standard size ice cube out of your freezer, and you stick it on the counter, and you compare the amount of water that's left on the counter when it melts to the size of that ice cube, it's relatively small, right?
Well, small as compared to what?
Compared to the original size of the ice cube.
I think it's bigger because when ice forms, it compacts, and then when it melts, it spreads out. So you're looking at a blob on a table as compared to a cube. But multiply that by 10, 20,000. These icebergs are huge, man.
Okay.
And it's not just Antarctica that's breaking off. It's Norway, Alaska, Greenland.
Okay. So we're in for a flood is what you're telling us.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. A glacial earthquake begins when a tall, narrow iceberg breaks away from the front of a glacier and falls into the ocean. As the iceberg rolls over, it can slam back into the mother glacier. That collision produces strong mechanical vibrations in the ground, known as seismic waves, that can travel thousands of kilometers from the source.
These icy earthquakes are unusually hard to detect because they do not produce the high-frequency seismic waves that scientists usually rely on to locate typical sources such as tectonic earthquakes, volcanoes, and nuclear explosions. Okay.
Due to this difference, glacial earthquakes were only discovered relatively recently, despite other seismic sources having been documented routinely for several decades. Most glacial earthquakes detected so far have been located near the ends of glaciers in Greenland, the largest ice cap in the northern hemisphere.
The Greenland glacial earthquakes are relatively large in magnitude. The largest ones are similar in size to those caused by nuclear tests conducted by North Korea in the past 2 decades. As such, they have been detected by a high-quality, continuously operating seismic monitoring network worldwide. Wow. Okay.
The Greenland events vary with the seasons, occurring more often in late summer. They have also become more common in recent decades. The signs may be associated with a faster rate of global warming in the polar regions.
Although Antarctica is the largest ice sheet on Earth, direct evidence of glacial earthquakes caused by capsizing icebergs there has been elusive. Most previous attempts to detect Antarctic glacial earthquakes use the worldwide network of seismic detectors. That's what you were alluding to earlier, right?
Yeah.
However, if Antarctic glacial earthquakes are of much lower magnitude than those in Greenland, the global network may not detect them.
In the new study,
Sounds like they need to upgrade.
yeah, or use Bigfoot or Yeti in the snow. Use Yeti.
Yeah.
Okay. In the new study, the author used seismic stations in Antarctica itself to look for signs of these quakes. His search turned up more than 360 glacier seismic events, most of which are not yet included in any earthquake catalog. The events the author detected were in 2 clusters, near Thwaites and Pine Island glaciers. These glaciers have been the largest sources of sea level rise from Antarctica.
Thwaites Glacier is sometimes known as the Doomsday Glacier, which we mentioned earlier. If it were to collapse completely, it would rise global sea levels by 3 meters.
Dang.
I don't know. That just sounds crazy.
That's 9 feet across
Yeah.
the entire world.
Yeah, that might affect some coastal property, right?
That's a big glacier.
Yeah, and it also has the potential to fall apart rapidly. About 2/3 of the events I detected, 245 out of 362, were located near the marine end of Thwaites. Most of these events are likely glacial earthquakes due to capsizing icebergs.
The strongest driver of such events does not appear to be the annual oscillation of warm air temperatures that drives the seasonal behavior of Greenland glacier earthquakes. Instead, the most prolific period of glacial earthquakes at Thwaites between 2018 and 2020 coincides with a period of accelerated flow of the glacier's ice tongue towards the sea. And by the way, on your screen, you've probably been looking at this. That shows that Doomsday Glacier right there. And this is just a small snapshot picture of this huge glacier.
Wow.
The ice tongue speed up period was independently confirmed by satellite observations.
This speed up could have been caused by ocean conditions, the effect of which is not yet well understood. The findings suggest the short-term scale impact of ocean states on the stability of marine terminating glaciers. This is worth further exploration to assess the potential contribution of glaciers to future sea level rise. So here we go. Here's where we're asking for money.
The second largest cluster of detections occurred near the Pine Island Glacier. However, these were consistently located 60 to 80 kilometers from the waterfront, so they are not likely to have been caused by capsizing icebergs. These events remain puzzling and require follow-up research.
The detection of glacial earthquakes associated with iceberg calving, is that right?
Yep.
At Thwaites Glacier could help answer several important research questions. These include a fundamental question about the potential instability of the Thwaites Glacier due to the interaction of the ocean, ice, and solid ground near where it meets the sea. So, well, anyway, go ahead, finish.
Better understanding may hold the key to resolving the current large uncertainty in the projected sea level rise over the next couple of centuries.
Yeah, I just had a thought about. I mean, these glaciers, the ice, it's got to be frozen seawater, right? Salt
Yeah.
water.
Well, no. The ice is rain, snow that's come down and packed centuries over eons. So it's fresh.
Okay, so it's all right. I get that now. That answers my question. Okay.
And these glaciers are like, they could be hundreds of feet thick, maybe 1,000 feet thick, especially in Antarctic where it's continue to snow forever.
Okay.
All right,
Interesting
folks.
story.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you in the afternoon.
See you this afternoon. Thanks for watching.